UFC London this weekend, and let's give you my predictions. We're going to be predicting the main three fights on the card: Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland, Jan Blachowicz taking on Carlos Ulberg in the co-main event of the night, and Leon Edwards taking on Sean Brady as the main event of the night. It's a pretty good card, you know. There's a lot of sleeper fights, I guess you can say. Jai Herbert's fighting against Chris Padilla, Loner Kavanaugh, who is Lucas Tracy's #1 fan, and Felipe Dos Santos, obviously. So we have Moss and Tybura versus Mick Parkin on the prelims too, which is pretty weird. But let's predict the main three fights because I'm sure that's what you guys really care about today. And yeah, so the featured fight of the night, we have Gunnar Nelson taking on Kevin Holland, like previously stated. This fight, you know, it's an interesting fight because I feel like every time you predict Kevin Holland, this guy fails you, and every time you don't predict this guy and you give up on this guy, he comes out with another win. And he's coming off that loss to RDR, obviously, UFC 311. So it's a really quick turnaround for him. I heard he wants to get 5 fights in. I think he's just doing UFC for the money at this point. So that I don't like that about him. You know, I used to be a fan of Kevin Holland. Now I can't stand the guy. What's a 45-70? Gunnar Nelson, you know, he's had like 3 fights in the last 6 years. He's coming off a 2-year layoff as well. He has really good jiu-jitsu, and he's always been one of those guys just outside of the rankings. I don't know, dude, because Kevin Holland's back to welterweight, which is always good. You know, I think he's definitely a welterweight over a middleweight. He doesn't have a middleweight body, and welterweight fits him a lot more, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see if Kevin Holland can pick up a win. You know, Apex Kevin Holland is the best version of Kevin Holland. We've seen him go 5-0 into Apex in 2020. Gunnar Nelson, I've not watched of his much. I can't talk, dude. Gunnar Nelson, I've not watched much of his fights, but you know, I think he's I've heard highly of him, but I don't think I can go with him. You know, I'm gonna go with Kevin Holland to get it done. This guy has good jiu-jitsu, and I don't know, his offensive jiu-jitsu is really good. He's a black belt, but his defensive jiu-jitsu isn't the best. He can get caught in a lot of submission. So if Gunnar Nelson can't take this fight to the ground, then it's gonna be over. And yeah, I'm gonna go with Kevin Holland. We'll say by 2nd round submission. I think he can get it done. You know, like I said, his offensive submission game is really good. So Kevin Holland is my pick for the featured fight of the night. Next, we're gonna be moving on to the co-main event of the night: Jan Blachowicz, former champion Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg, aka the man who got knocked out by Kennedy Nzechukwu. Okay, so I don't know who's gonna win this fight. You know, this fight is honestly a toss. I feel like all 3 of these fights could go either way. So if I go 0-3 in my predictions, don't hate me, man. I'm just a YouTuber trying to get my subscribers up, and I'm doing what I love, man. So don't hate me. Yeah, Carlos Ulberg, he's on like a 7-fight winning streak. He's in good form right now, and I watched his fight at UFC Macau a couple months ago, and I honestly was not impressed. He gassed out against Volkan Ozdemir, and in Jan Blachowicz' last fight, which was I think against Pereira, he gassed out too. But it could have been because of the elevation. So I don't know. We already know that Carlos Ulberg's gas tank is bad. But do we know how Jan Blachowicz' gas tank is? You know, it could have just been the elevation at 295, I believe, or it just could have been him being old. I'm gonna go with him just not getting used to the elevation. So I don't know. I think if Jan Blachowicz wants to win this fight, he has to use the leg kicks effectively. This guy has to be on the leg kicks because someone like Carlos Ulberg is always going to be moving around. So he just needs to be spamming kicks. Making sure to be active, because in that Pereira fight he did struggle with being active, and I think that's what costed him that fight. So you just have to make sure to still be active, still giving him a nice jab, giving him a nice leg kick now and then. And I do believe that Jan Blachowicz has the potential to pull this off. But I'm gonna go with Carlos Ulberg by 30-27 decision. You're probably wondering, after I said all that, how am I gonna go out and say that Carlos Ulberg is gonna 30-27 this guy? I don't know, dude. I feel like we're gonna get that one of these performances where an old guy comes back, hasn't fought in a while, and is just a shell of his former self. You know, we've seen it many times, and I can just see this being a perfect example of this. I can just see Jan being slow. I can see Jan just not being active at all and just taking a beating. We might be able to see a finish late in the fight, but I'm gonna go with the 30-27 decision for Carlos Ulberg. I don't trust Jan Blachowicz. I think Jan Blachowicz is severely underrated, and I'll have a video coming out tomorrow about how he can easily get back into the title picture with just 1 win. You know, he went life and death with Pereira, life and death with Magomed and Kalaev, but I think he's lost that. I think he's lost his ability. So his fighting abilities, I guess, dude. He's like 43. Age isn't on the side, and age is definitely on Carlos Ulberg's side. I think Carlos Ulberg is going to win this by 30-27 decision, like I said before. And don't get me wrong, Jan Blachowicz win this fight, and it's just I don't think he, I don't think he is, dude. He definitely has the tools to, but in the end, I'm gonna go with that. Moving on to the main event of UFC London. It was originally supposed to be JDM versus Leon Edwards, which is a fight I would have much rather preferred in a.
You do.
And it's a fight we may see farther down the line. But in terms of this fight, Sean Brady, Leon Edwards, I think this is going to be a good one. You know, a lot of people know Sean Brady is a boring fighter, and that is because he is a boring fighter. But Leon Edwards is also a boring fighter. So you're probably wondering how I'm saying this is going to be an entertaining fight. These two styles, you know, we've seen Leon Edwards versus Bilal, a wrestler versus a striker, a kickboxer, to be specific. It wasn't that entertaining of a fight, but I do believe that Leon Edwards is gonna be riding off that headshot did momentum, and he's gonna be able to produce an instant classic if he wants to, dude. And I don't know if I want to be edgy here and say Sean Brady, because Sean Brady is taking this fight on short notice, but I honestly do feel like Sean Brady can get this done. I don't know. Something about me is just saying that Sean Brady is gonna have a masterclass. We've seen Leon Edwards in his last fight. He was not himself that last fight. He was horrible that last fight. He got ragdolled by Bilal, quite literally, dropped on his head, on his bald spot. And I think I have to kind of lean to Sean Brady here, dude. Sean Brady can submit you, and Sean Brady is a boring fighter, but you know he can make this fight interesting if he wants to put the pressure on Leon Edwards early. Leon Edwards does have some world-class takedown defense. We've seen that against Kamaru Usman. We've seen that against Colby Covington, and that's already been established. But Sean Brady, dude, I think Sean Brady is relentless. I think his cardio is pretty good. And I don't know about Leon Edwards, dude. We've seen him gas out. We've seen him get a little tired in his last fight. It's that fight against Leon Edwards. The fight against Bilal, he looked good in that 5th round, but I don't know, dude. I feel like Sean Brady's pressure is going to be relentless, just takedown after takedown, and he might get a late submission, but I'm actually going to go with Sean Brady by 49-46 decision. You know, you might call me crazy, dude, and I might look crazy after Leon Edwards headshots this guy into oblivion. Yeah. Depending on how this goes, I just feel like Sean Brady is actually going to be a staple around the welterweight division, dude. You know, when we're talking about the top 5 of welterweight, we think of names like Ian Gary, we think of names like JDM, we think of names like Shavkat Rakhmonov, but we don't think of Sean Brady, dude. And I think Sean Brady is definitely going to prove something this weekend, taking this fight on short notice, beating Leon Edwards, hopefully sending Leon Edwards into retirement. Give me Sean Brady, dude. Yeah, man, that's my opinion. If you disagree, let me know down below, and we'll see if I go 3-0 or earn 3 in the night. Thank you much for watching.